Hi, this is John O'Coral. Welcome to this week's Auspicious Agile video blog. This week we're going to be taking a look at an Agile Scaling Roundup. Recently, VersionOne released the Agile Scaling State of Agile Agile Survey Report, the 11th annual. Usually a good source of information about what's happening in the world of Agile. And today we're going to take a look at Agile Scaling. This is a follow-up to the series that I did, the Agile Scaling Tour, about a year ago. We're going to take a look at some of the different numbers and approaches that have evolved and developed since that time, and also look at some of the results from the State of Agile survey as well. So with that, let's go ahead and begin our roundup. And we got our cowgirl here ready for the roundup. Let's begin with Scaled Agile Framework. So I'll just give a quick coverage on that. I've done many other video blogs on this, so no need to go in depth here. But Scaled Agile Framework for the first time actually jumped up to 28% of respondents said they were using it, which makes it now the most used Agile scaling framework that was quoted in the survey, which is a global survey. 27% now for Scum-of-Scrums, which has always traditionally been the largest used Agile scaling framework. And many of you know that Scrum-of-Scrums has some shortcomings, but certainly is capable of at least handling small scaling situations. Now, let's take a look. Next, very interesting, is that 13% are actually custom built or internally created methods. These are methods that are not commercial or off the shelf, so to speak, but these are actually things that people have built themselves for their own organization. It's custom and it is their own approach. So this is another category representing 13% of responses, which is the next largest, and it's a pretty significant number actually. Now, next up is lean management. Lean management is at about 4% of the responses. It's not necessarily an agile scaling approach that's commercially sold, at least in my understanding. More so, it is the application of lean IT and lean management principles, lean manufacturing principles in the IT context. So things like the House of Lean and Kaizen. So this was reported at 4% of respondents using this for enterprise Agile and Lean, which of course Lean is the foundation of Agile. Let's take a look at the next one, which is the Agile Portfolio Management. Now, Agile Portfolio Management, again, is not necessarily really a framework. This is more looking at portfolio view of your Agile in the enterprise. Might be like the portfolio level of SAFe or the portfolio level of RAGE, which we're going to cover a little bit later. These are really looking at an overall portfolio view. 4% report that they use this for Agile, and I will say that this is not something I come across too much. A lot of organizations have been adopting Agile with teams, but not necessarily at the portfolio level. So Agile Portfolio Management, and if others have comments on this one, please do include those below. Now, next up, we have Largescale Scrum, or LESS. Last year, LESS was at 4%. This year is at 3%, so it's down 1%. Large-scale Scrum, of course, has been one of the more popular Agile scaling approaches. It's gotten quite a bit of attention recently. And, of course, large-scale Scrum still there on the list, but has moved down slightly from where it was last year. So keep an eye on that and see how that is doing in future State of Agile surveys and other reviews of Agile scaling. Now, let's take a look next at discipline. It used to be called Discipline Agile Delivery. I covered it in one of my prior Agile Scaling Tour, Auspicious Agile videos, but now it's called Discipline 2.0. It made quite a few changes in Discipline 2.0. Scott Embler is actually responsible for this framework. It is now encompassing Agile IT, enterprise, context, DevOps. This really has been extended beyond just Agile delivery. So this is why they changed the name to Discipline 2.0. I will definitely note here that Discipline 2.0 or DA or whatever you may choose to call it now is really a high-level framework. So if you don't know about Shuhari, take a look at the Auspicious Agile video on Shuhari. But that is the Agile learning approach that effectively shows the steps that we take in learning about an Agile method and tears to a martial art. And in this case, Discipline 2.0 is still very much a high-level framework, not a Shu or an introductory level. Needs some skill. Now, an experience. Recipes for Agile Governance in the Enterprise, RAGE, is one that is new for my coverage. I have not covered it before. It was in that VersionOne State of Agile survey as well last year, also at 1%, 1% this year as well. This is really governance focused. and they quote that governments should not be prescriptive. So they're saying, yes, you have governance in an agile organization, but it shouldn't be prescriptive. It should still allow some degree of freedom. And this is watching one of their webinars pulling from there. Agile governance, they basically divide it into project, program, and portfolio levels, and it is created by C Prime Inc. So for those who are looking at governance, and I know I'm looking at many of those topics myself, this may be something interesting for you to take a look at and maybe to get some principles that you can apply in a larger enterprise from an agile governance perspective. I do want to note, of course, that from a projects perspective, projects are not generally something we see associated with agile. More we would see a value stream or we might see a product. But Rage does use the concept of a project. Now let's go on to Nexus. I covered this in the Agile Scaling Tour last about a year plus ago, and Nexus is still here on the list. It actually now has moved up to 1%. Before it was not there. They have actually put some effort in to make updates to this. There's a downloadable PDF guide you can use for implementing it. There is what they call, I believe, the Scrum Open, which you can take as a test to get more information, as well as classes and other points. So 1% for Nexus. It comes from scrum.org, and I have not done deep coverage of this one, but certainly if you're interested in that, please let me know, and we'll see about including it in a new upcoming Auspicious Agile video blog. Now, next up, I want to give some honorable mentions here. One of the first ones is going to be Spotify. This is a method that gets used a lot. It's been used by ING, I believe by Netflix, by many others that I've seen, and also many others have seen, looking at things like squads and tribes and looking at these different organizations. This is not a Scrum framework, but it is an Agile approach that was designed by Spotify. I'm not sure if the reason it's not included in the survey is because it's not really a commercial framework per se, but it is quite popular. So it certainly is worth a look, even though it is not on the list of those survey results. Some other honorable mentions, we have DSDM, which is listed with regular non-scaling methods. We have Agile Path, Continuous Agile, Fast Scaled Agile Technology, Scaled Lean, Agile Lean Development, Scaled, Scrum at Scale, and Xscale. Wow, that is a lot. So there's a lot of frameworks out there, of course, and of course many for you to take a look through. Those last ones are also noted in the Gardner. Gardner did a kind of listing of Agile approaches, and they had listed some of those. So at any rate, that's our coverage of scaling Agile, our roundup, and hopefully some good information for you, some good food for thought, and more research for you as well. Please also research and include in the comments anything you'd like to see covered in more depth. And please subscribe. Thanks, and stay agile.